Today, we are joined by two leaders who help bring construction projects to life, keeping things moving from planning to execution and making sure everything comes together the way it should. In this episode, we talked to Carson, a project manager, about what it takes to lead projects from start to finish and how his interests outside of work, from high-performance cars to running his own car show company, tie into his approach to staying organized, thinking ahead, and managing moving pieces. We also sit down with Holtom to talk about the day-to-day side of construction project management and how his background, from the National Guard to his time in the Marines and even his skills in the kitchen, carries over to focus, discipline, and his ability to handle whatever comes next. So I noticed your voice is a little different today.
Yeah, sorry. We had a busy weekend. Calvin was actually helping me all weekend too. We were running a big car show on Sunday at Meridian Speedway here locally, and definitely thousands of people showed up, and I was yelling over the mic and everything, so I'm a little froggy today, a little squeaky today.
No, that's cool. Like what kind of cars and stuff do you guys have come out?
We had everything. We had muscle cars, trucks, exotic cars, Japanese cars, European cars. If there was something there for literally everyone.
Yeah, I like to go out to that stuff too. I think most people do if you're a car person.
Yeah, so. And we had food trucks and we had face painting for the kids and some other fun stuff. So it was a good time, but yeah, it took a bit of a toll on my voice.
I bet. Yeah. Yelling and screaming, all that fun. Yeah.
All positive, no negative screaming. But
right, 100%.
Yep.
My favorite was the little sandbox trailer.
Yes, the
little
sandbox.
RC excavators.
Yep.
Oh, those are cool. I've seen this on videos and stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty
Saw
cool.
a guy scooping his wife's coffee up with one.
That sounds awesome. I need to do that.
It was pretty funny. So we kind of talked a little bit about what you guys were doing this past weekend. What's some other stuff you guys like to do, like on your off time?
Well, I mean, I talked about the show. That's kind of my off time is kind of on time, but just other things. So how about you, Calvin?
It's kind of the same thing. Fixing and repairing vehicles and cars is fun sometimes, and usually just kind of needed other times.
Yeah, it's always more fun to work on your stuff if you don't need to drive it to work the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I learned that real fast when I was younger. I used to go off-roading a lot, and I would ruin my car, and then I was like, how am I going to get to work now?
Yeah, you didn't have Uber back then.
Yeah, no Uber. Yeah. I mean, I'm not that old, but they didn't have Uber then.
I'm not that old. Sorry. You had to call a sketchy taxi.
Yeah, or hey, Mom and Dad, can you come pick me up?
I'm like, no, that's your own dumb fault.
Yeah. Do you have a bicycle?
Yeah.
Should be fine.
There's a bus, right?
Yeah, there's a bus. We both were pretty similar in that fashion. We like working on stuff and getting out on the weekends and, hitting the trails or fishing for Calvin especially. And
stuff I work on is usually more of a 4-wheel drive aspect than stuff too.
Yeah, mine's more of a 2-wheel drive, go fast in a straight line aspect.
Yeah, I think that's pretty important, considering you guys are kind of in a position or your career that, can be high stress, to get out there and be able to relax and do something you enjoy and helps clear your mind a little bit and able to come back to work focused and rejuvenated, even though it's might not be physically rejuvenated, but mentally, right? Get a little change in scenery and pace. So
yeah, absolutely. Cool. Yeah, I appreciate downtime a lot more as I get older. That's for sure.
Yeah, I feel you. I don't get a lot of downtime because my kids take up my what would be downtime, but
well,
yeah,
and we can't speak to that because neither of us have kids yet.
Mm-hmm. So when I was younger, I kind of wanted to be like a fighter pilot and like something in the military, drive a tank or do something cool. Like in my when I was younger, I always thought that was cool. What's something that you guys kind of thought was, would be a cool job when you were, younger?
Well, it sounds like Calvin got your
Most of them
yeah. Calvin got your dream job
Yeah.
because he gets to drive tanks
for a little bit.
for a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's a lot of people's dream job. Who wouldn't want to drive a tank?
Sorry, you burst your bubble, but it's about 5 minutes of fun for 5 months of awful.
Sounds like most things in the military, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All the typical stuff. You know, I wanted to grow up and be an astronaut, or grow up and be a race car driver, or I really didn't have any grand plans for my life. I just kind of enjoyed it and wanted to be something interesting when I grew up. But project manager wasn't necessarily top of the list. But looking at a lot of the stuff that I ended up being interested in, it kind of makes sense. Yeah. We just talked about the events that we were running over the weekend. I did that before I even became a project manager. So it kind of helped out, I would say.
How about you, Calvin? Is there any other than, driving tanks and in the military and all that stuff? What was there anything else that stood out for you as a kid?
I had a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
A lot of different things I chased for a little bit. I tried to I went for diving for a little bit until I found out how terrible I am in the water. It's awful.
Well, if you're diving, you're just sinking. So if you're terrible in the water,
perfect.
That's
I don't
fine.
need to come back up at all.
Just hold your breath.
Yeah. They have tanks for that.
Yeah.
But this is kind of just something that opportunities eventually led me into. So it wasn't like I envisioned being in project management at all. It just kind of opportunities came along, and like, oh, I'll grab that. I'll grab that. And here I am.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I feel like, growing up and meeting lots of different people, I feel like that's a actually pretty common thing that people are like, if you talk to them about how they got into their job, they're like, well, things just kind of happened and everything aligned, and this is where I ended up. So, I think that's probably true for a lot of people. It's true for me. I didn't ever really set out when I was a kid to be like, oh, I'm going to be in marketing or do website stuff and, podcasts. That wasn't necessarily even on my radar. I mean, I don't even know if they had podcasts back then, but
Your name is Mark, though. So
it is.
Marketing.
Yeah.
It had to happen.
It did. Well, maybe I just didn't know about it, but it was set in place, I guess, a long time ago. So, you guys being in the project management world, kind of go through that a little bit, and we'll talk about like what that entails. Project manager could technically be a lot of different things. So maybe you guys want to kind of talk about like some of the projects you guys done in the past, or different things you guys kind of tackled from a day-to-day perspective. And
It's lots of fun. You can kind of range from everywhere from acting as basically a general contractor for the company, or just doing basic repair on stuff. And it's amazing the amount of different various things you find that will break in magnificent ways that you never would have thought of before.
or
And you have to show up and figure out how to fix it.
building awesome walls like the ones behind us.
Yeah. That's true. That was all
Yeah.
Calvin.
Yeah. They turned out amazing.
They range from fairly easy but time consuming to super interesting.
How good are you guys at puzzles? I feel like your job is a big bag of puzzles that you have to constantly figure out.
I mean, not to brag, but both of our IQs put together is at least 110, 120. So yeah, we can solve some puzzles.
Yeah.
Together we can figure out probably a 500-piece puzzle.
Probably max 500.
How long?
No. It will get solved. Just it's going to take a while.
So kind of, you guys are like a 3-man team with Joe too. How do you guys determine like who's working on what projects and where you're going? I'm sure you guys get pulled in lots of different directions. So, managing that could be pretty tricky. So how do you guys kind of do that from a day in, day out perspective too?
Yeah, it's actually, I would say it's almost gotten smoother in the last few months, especially bringing Calvin onto the team. But now I've been here long enough that a lot of the managers and other staff know me enough to actually reach out first and present me with these issues. And I'm able to just just take care of them right away or call the right person or send Calvin in his pickup to go solve the problem if it's close enough and makes sense. And honestly, him doing that saves the company a lot of money. There have been multiple service calls that could have been $500 or $1,000, and he heads out there and saves the company the money in a few hours, making the right fix. So it's just kind of, it goes off of our strengths. You know, we all have different things. Joe he's supposed to be the high level guy, dealing with the big problems, dealing with the senior staff, you know, the big budget items, schedule items, timelines. Calvin is on the opposite end. He's supposed to be doing, you know, more physical work, some of that problem solving. And then I'm kind of in both worlds. You know, I'm managing some projects, but I also get to put the bags on every once in a while. So it's, it helps a lot. I think we work well together. It helps that, of course, that I'm Joe's son. So there's an existing relationship. And then also Calvin and I have known each other for, 15 plus years, growing up together. So it works well there also. And we worked a lot on his dad's farm as kids as well. So it's not like we just were always goofing off. We know how to work, together. So I think the 3-man works well.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
We've been out with you guys a couple times. Like we were up there when you guys were setting the tanks in Cascade, and you know we always get the opportunity to go out there and fly the drone around and get some pictures of you guys doing different projects. You know, when we built the Wendell store, so we get to see a little bit of a day in a life of you guys' daily tasks and whatever. So that's pretty cool. And when you guys do ag barns, we usually try to shoot out there and get some pictures and stuff like that. So I think seeing that from an employee standpoint is pretty awesome too. So you'll probably get a lot more people calling you if they actually watch this podcast. Hopefully they do.
and know, hey, we're here to help solve problems.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll get your number flashed on the screen.
Yeah. Please, as long as it's the work number, I'm fine.
Till you start getting calls for handyman jobs.
Yeah.
So one thing too, I thought would be, you know, kind of interesting is if you guys were able to give some examples of, you know, you guys go out to some of these job sites and you see some pretty cool and at the same time crazy and almost unbelievable stuff. So like, do you guys have examples or do you have something like that where you would want to share with us as far as like something that's funny or kind of out there that you guys see when you go out and do job sites?
Yeah, I mean, I probably have to scroll through my phone and find all the goofy pictures of things we've come across. One of the most recent ones was probably we got a call because there was a leak in the manager's office at our, what store was it?
No, Jerome.
Our Jerome farm store. And so we're like, great, probably a roof leak or something along those lines. So Calvin and I head out there. Well, we get there and the manager says, oh, no, it wasn't the roof. Somebody kicked the toilet off of its bolts in the floor. So, and we're like, what? And she shows us the picture and straight up the toilet had been knocked off the bolts. The porcelain had been cracked completely. And the supply line.
Base on like the back of the toilet.
Yeah. Like when I say kicked, I mean, this took some force to like, I don't know what they were doing, but the whole commode was ripped off the floor. And the water had then seeped all through the restroom on the tile and then underneath the wall into the manager's room. So we had to gut the manager's room, dry it out, make sure there was no mold. But that was just one of those, like, how did this happen? Which guy went into that restroom and just destroyed this toilet?
Had to handle some business.
Yes. So that was a goofy one recently.
I would have really liked to have been there for the Manan remodel. I don't know when that was done, but because I grew up in eastern Idaho, so I'd go to that Manan store as a kid when Dad worked there. And so I remember what it was like then. I had no idea they remodeled it till I showed up like 3 years ago. This is a totally different building.
I can read the signs and the food smells good and there's cold drinks.
It's kind of like our store up in Bellevue. That used to be a bowling alley at one point too,
well,
I think.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so they converted it back from, I don't know when back that was. I'd have to look it up. But at one point that was a bowling alley. So
That's pretty wild. Okay, we learned something today.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, part of being a cooperative is we end up assimilating other companies, right? And with that comes properties that are in very rough shape sometimes. because it's not like we're going out and acquiring on purpose some of these businesses. It's like, oh, we're just, we're bringing you into the fold and whatever comes with you. And so we end up with like Swan Lake. There, it's a really tall silo out there, and it's right on the railroad tracks on one side, right on the highway on the other. And the building was getting ready to fall over. It was in such bad shape. Metal was peeling off of it. And we had to go out there and reface the whole thing, put some nice signage on it. But just one of those things that nobody ever would have touched unless it just happened that we got it as a company.
Yeah, I kind of remember the rumblings of that project, and they were trying to decide if, we what should we do with it, because trying to get access up there was pretty tough too, because you had all those poles and all the telephone poles around it, the lines. So
yeah, and we couldn't really demolish it because it was stuck in that little highway railroad track island, and it was so tall that if you knocked it over, it would be falling on something.
Yeah.
So tough situation, but that's part of our job.
Yeah.
Or something like a warehouse that's half of it's ours and half of it's not.
Yeah, that is actually. There's a property we're dealing
Preston?
with. I think it's close to that. The property line of our property runs through the center of an old building. The building is on both property. It's just weird. Yeah, weird stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's crazy. I can imagine. I can only imagine the things you guys run into from a job perspective, and just constantly having to adapt, right? And like that's can be pretty stressful, I'm sure, but like also rewarding when it gets finished and you're done. You look back, have a self accomplishment. Hey, I did that. We fixed it. We finished it. That's awesome. It turned out great. So
yeah, I will say it does. I think the company culture helps a lot, because it's not as if we're in a project management mill where it's every single dollar needs to get squeezed out of this or we don't make money as general contractors, right? It is more because we work for the company we're GCing for, we're able to see the full picture, and it's not just save money, do it as quickly as possible. We can actually get some efficiency, but also get a good final product, whether we're solving a problem or doing a full project. I think it is a little lower stress than your average, general contracting or project management job, simply because we get to be part of the company instead of being brought in from the outside and being put under immense pressure to get a project done correctly from both our employers and clients.
Yeah, I could see that definitely. So when something doesn't go right, like how do you guys go about kind of addressing that? I mean, it's probably based off of each situation, right? But I'm sure that's a big part of you guys probably have to sit down and figure out, okay, what's the best course of action, or is there like a method to that you guys kind of just see yourself in, or you just kind of deal with it day by day and project by project, as far as like how you should handle it, what you should do? I mean, we just kind of redid the Meridian store. Was there any kind of issues you guys had to deal with that one that you kind of had to figure out how to get around it?
There was with the concrete cutting. Yeah, because we figured out what are they called? The tension cables that go in the slab. We didn't know those existed because we thought maybe the building was too old to have them. But Joe was checking the plans one day and he realized, oh my goodness, these cables are under the slab. And if we cut through them with a saw, it could, they could spring back like rubber bands, and we'd lose our integrity on the metal columns in the building, which is a huge problem, obviously. So that, I guess, not really something we had to deal with on the fly, but just an example of something that could have gone very wrong had we not done a little bit of homework. And that was an easy one because instead of cutting in a floor drain, we just ended up running the drain along the wall, and leaving the existing drain where it was. So it ended up actually saving us some money reworking the kitchen and not having to cut concrete instead. So that, kind of a double-edged sword in a positive way, I guess. Yeah. But as far as a method for other things that pop up unexpectedly, I don't want to say triage because it's not usually an emergency, but it's definitely okay, what could go wrong? Right? What's the worst outcome? How do we avoid that? And then what's the best outcome and how do we get to that? And that's, with most projects, I think how people would go about it. but we have a lot of resources to pull from, so that helps.
Yeah, I could see that being helpful and beneficial at the same time too. So always double checking and making sure maybe having. I'm sure you guys have multiple eyes, you and your dad, and or Joe. I don't know how you want me to say that.
I don't mind. There's a lot of people in the company that know who he is in our relationship, but I call him Joe just in business because it's much easier. I'm not going to go around, hey, my dad said, right? So, and I'm sure the same goes for Calvin,
right?
Being his dad being the former CEO. Hey, my dad said, right? Like especially it's like being the pastor's kid at the church, right?
Yeah. So, Calvin, you've kind of worked throughout your whole life with the co-op, right? So, kind of, what's something different that since you've started that you maybe didn't realize was part of the job that you kind of are learning that's part of the job? Is there anything in particular like that maybe that stands out to you?
I guess I didn't expect to be going around mostly to all the retail stores because most of my co-op background is through Valley Ag. So I've been to all those locations. I've seen kind of the condition they're in. Like, okay, I expect to be fixing most of this stuff, and I've hardly touched any of them.
Yeah.
It's mostly been retail because I've noticed a kind of different attitude. The ag guys and to a certain extent the energy guys, they're all very capable themselves to like
kind of handy.
They're very handy and they know their own systems even better than I do. So they all can kind of come figure out the best solution themselves most of the time. I don't know how much you've had to do. But I don't think I've been called out to an ag or energy site hardly at all.
If we get
maybe once or twice.
Yeah, if we get called for ag, it's usually because it's a real project, not maintenance.
Right. Like a restructuring or not restructuring, but
or they're
new build
or getting tired of slapping a tape on the thing.
I was going to say,
like, come fix this.
An issue has gotten bad enough that it needs a legitimate fix that takes some time and money, or extra input. It's, hey, we need to add an office here. We need to add a new wing. We need to add a new barn. We need a full remodel. That's usually
a new warehouse like we did in Paul.
Right. Well, and the other, exactly. But then to Calvin's point on the retail side, you don't have customers coming into ag sites, right? Every single day.
Right.
So it's not to say that the retail people are less capable. It's just that they have to deal with way more unknowns coming through those doors every day.
Right. And I'm sure like
there's a lot less downtime.
Yes.
It seems as well on the retail side.
All right. So now we're gonna do put a little twist. We're gonna use some AI, and I'm gonna formulate a question for you guys, and you guys could see how it goes with answering it. So, what's a moment on the job site where you thought this is definitely not in the project plan?
Just something that I didn't expect to have to deal with, even though I didn't really have to deal with it. It was just more annoying. An inspector failed us on a plumbing inspection because the sink needed to be moved, an eighth of an inch?
It was like a quarter of an inch.
A quarter of an inch further away from the wall. And I mean, like I said, I didn't have to deal with it. We had the plumber do it, but it was just...
You got to be kidding me.
Come on.
Yeah.
We've done so much in here already.
Right.
Yeah, stuff like that actually happens somewhat. I wouldn't say often, but I don't get it. They're some of the smallest, I guess, kind of just to say this isn't in the plan. Yeah, we've done a couple of projects recently in smaller towns where we go in and we think, oh, we're just building a little shack, right? This should be easy. And we're like, we can work with the plan reviewer right in town. We can get everything pushed right through. It's not going to be a problem. However, it was the complete opposite because all these small towns have started to just simply fire their plan reviewer and sub it out to somebody that lives here in Boise or even other cities completely. So it ends up going from, we can work hand in hand with them and get through some of these questions to kind of a rubber stamped flow chart where you don't hear much, you don't get much back aside from the final review notes, which are just, you can't change those once they're through the system. And not only that, but it takes weeks, like it would in a big city. So
a lot more red tape.
A lot more red tape in the way, in unexpected places.
I could see that. Just having to, it's kind of like when you grow as a company, right? Things tend to get a little bit more held up than they used to. You don't have that small town feel.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, that's one of the good things I like about the co-op is you still have that small town feel. I feel like that's something we won't ever lose, even no matter how big we get, just based off of how the structure of the co-op is. So it's kind of cool. I like that aspect, but trying to tying it back to what you were just saying, I think that kind of fits right in there. It's the same kind of thing. Like you have to deal with, sometimes you have to deal with the small local areas, and then some of those smaller ones are like, they may not have the room or vacancies or whatever you want to call it, job opportunities out in there, so they have to go to a different place to get somebody to fill in for that. So
yeah, I mean,
makes it a little bit more frustrating, I'm sure, for you guys' side.
Yeah. There was one project where they were wanting to get us to add an elevator, a whole ADA elevator, which understandable to cater to anybody who's handicapped. But just knowing what we know, we were like, we have a conference room downstairs. We have offices. There's no reason for anyone to need to go upstairs who's handicapped. It's not like the restrooms are up there, right? And so just weird stuff like that, where you would never expect to be required to put an elevator in a small town, project. But there we were. So
just get a stair chair.
Well, sometimes you got to have an elevator instead of it. So anyways, I don't think we end up having to do it, but we had to work through a lot of concessions to avoid spending six figures on an elevator.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure you guys have to deal with a lot of different types of cities too, right? Like every city's different. Now we're I think it's 8 or 9 states that we're throughout. I think it's so every state is different. So you guys I'm sure you guys have your hands full just dealing with all the different things in those states. I'm sure you guys rely on a lot of your vendors to help out with that stuff too. But I could see how that could be a little bit complicated.
Yeah, that's a good example of that would be, I haven't had to do any work in California yet. I know you guys have had to travel to the stores there, but all I had to do was get an HVAC license, get the process moving for that. And I think I went back and forth with the officials there 8 or 9 times on revisions, small revisions, like we need an initial here, or we need the date changed here, or this person shouldn't be on this anymore. And not anything bad, but just showing you how, like, wow, just to get one license, 8 or 9 back and forths. And then on top of that, as soon as we got the green light, we figured it all out online. They then mailed us a bunch of documents to verify everyone's identities that were on this application. So it's not even over yet. We thought we were in the clear, and now there's a bunch of physical paperwork to complete and send in before we can get this license still. And it's like, man, how in-depth and this isn't even a building permit. This is just to get a license to do some HVAC work,
right,
or some plumbing or whatever it was. But yeah, that's California. Whereas in Idaho, it's, not even take a class. In Washington, it's take a class, put up a bond, and you're good to go. In Idaho, you don't even have to take a class. I think it's proof of insurance, and here's your license. So, yes, very different between states.
Yeah, makes it a little bit easier sometimes to have to go through less red tape. So I could definitely see that. So looking into the future, like what kind of projects or what kind of things are you guys most excited about, like getting into? Do you guys have some bigger projects, smaller projects? What do you guys prefer to get into? Like, what do you guys hope the direction as far as like some of the projects you guys are, if you got to pick, I guess, or if you have some?
I'm really excited to have the Parma store done, because I've been going there for years and wishing it could be bigger and better than what it is. So I'm really looking forward to have that done. Also, the Nampa C-store we're trying to get off of Highway 55. That's my main route into town.
Yeah, that would be
So
right on the way,
it'd
huh?
be really
For
nice
you.
to have a store there.
Yeah. For my part, actually, a kind of an off-the-wall thing. Valleywide paid for my pilot's license, which is a huge bonus on top of my just the everyday job, right? And the end goal being that I could fly to a lot of our sites, especially as we keep expanding into all those states, as you mentioned. So I would like to see on the project management side where we actually, I got the private license, but I've got a couple more certificates to go. And then I'll be able to actually, effectively fly places and save quite a few hours of driving. And hopefully for myself, for Joe, even for Calvin. And that'd be a project I'd really like to finish up and be able to use. So
I could imagine that even saves time for you guys. Like you don't have to go through as many TSA checks, and you guys could get out to different sites a lot faster, a lot quicker.
Yep. A good example would be Yerington. Granted, some of the work we did need our tools for, so having the truck was helpful. But I probably made a trip once a week out there for 2 months throughout the project, if not a little bit more. And that's 7 hours one way. So there's 14 hours a week just spent driving. And a lot of that drive doesn't have any service either. So it's not like I can really be effective taking phone calls or making anything happen while on the road, whereas it's a 2.5 hour flight. So less time to get there and back flying than it is one-way driving. So could have saved myself, a week, maybe 2 worth of, 40-hour work weeks of not driving over the course of the project. So just an example of definitely where it could have been worth it.
I'm still working on convincing them to go for the cargo plane. To let us at least bring a small car.
Yeah. Then we can fit.
There
we
you
can
go.
get a little
Just
side
pull
by
the
side
F-150 in there.
Yeah. That's a little more cargo than I.
Oh,
much,
okay.
Even just a small car, so we just land on the airport. We don't even have to call anyone. We have our own vehicle.
Don't you have some connections in the military? They could get us a plane for pretty cheap.
Yeah. We could do some. We could airdrop
One of those big helicopters that you can
auctions.
Nice.
Just get an old Black Hawk and just go straight to the store.
That's true. You know how how to fix those helicopters. So
that could be pretty exciting.
I'll fly it. You fix it. What could go wrong?
Nothing.
Not a single thing. But yeah, flying. I wanna continue down that road.
I think everybody is, excited when they get to hear about some new projects and new things that we have going on. I know when Titus and I make the videos and post them online and different, everybody seems excited that we just did the one in Yerington, and that everybody seemed to be really excited about us putting a store out there. And so, I think that's generally a lot of people are excited about, where we're growing and where we're coming out to, and you guys have a big part in that. So, I think the future's looking pretty bright for us. I think the co-op is a good system, and I think you guys are doing a great job. So,
hey, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
At least somebody thinks we're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Someone's excited.
I mean, you take it for what it's worth. I don't know what I have, but I do think you guys are doing a great job. So,
thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure getting to sit down and talk to you guys today, and I thank you guys for coming out, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll have to come back in 6 months, and you can ask us all these questions again and see how.
See what changed.
See how the summer went.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.